All right. Dane, what up, man? How you doing, dude?
What up, boy?
It's good to see you, buddy.
It's so fucking good to see you, man.
Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure.
It's been a long week, so I
Yeah.
needed this.
We're going to dig into it, man. We're going to dig into it. There's been a lot of crazy things going on this week.
There fucking has.
Yeah, we got a handful of topics we want to dig into. Obviously some stupid Trump shit because obviously, and then a few bits of music news. So that's what you can come to expect from this craziness. Please jump in, comment. Let's make this interactive. But until then, cue the music.
Yeah.
You just a little baby bunker bitch. You just a little baby bunker bitch.
Oh,
we're so
welcome.
Fucking cool.
FM Monsters live cast. On the live video podcast. I am Santino the Misfit, and this is
Dayne Alexander, Dayne the Great for short.
Hey. And we are failure made monsters, hefty FM monsters. If you couldn't figure that out, you probably don't belong here. Yeah. So let's get this started. The first thing, because there's actually, let's kick it off with a little bit of potentially good news or maybe catastrophic news. Depends on how it plays out, right?
Okay,
so
I'm ready.
Apparently in England next month, they intend to start trying opening up again for live concerts.
So here's my question. How the fuck already?
I don't know. But I guess the intention there is to start opening up, right? And only do a handful of events with a lot of specific social distancing measures in place, limiting ticket sales, doing all that, and then collecting the data from those events to see if this is a viable option to roll out wider. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, how do you see that going? Because I'm like, I haven't actually looked at what England's cases are up to, but just judging from being in California, to me, the world's still ending. So I'm not
that's what I will say first and foremost is that's the difference. They're not us. And they're not Florida, and they're not fucking Alabama, and they're not Arizona. So my first inkling is, I mean, maybe they got their shit down to a manageable rate, and it's not going to be a big deal for them because they did the right shit in the first place instead of acting like fucking idiots.
Possibly. And this is phase 4 too, out of a 5-phase plan. So
yeah. So they've been doing stuff. They've been doing stuff leading up to this.
Yeah. So I mean, you made it through the first 3. We must be okay-ish.
Right.
But we did the same shit here, though.
Well, we didn't even make it to what? We barely made it to fucking 3.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think that I know a few people. I know a couple people that are like in the UK and shit. And from what I hear,
British people, aren't they the worst?
They're fucking with those accents. They always think they're so classy.
I know. God. Because you don't know, my wife is British.
Shout out your wife. Appreciate you,
my wife.
Right. But no, what I'm guessing is that they really actually paid attention and they did this shit the right way instead of bitching about it the whole way through.
Yeah.
And now they're in a better position. That's all I can kind of get from it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that it works because then it shows that there's maybe some capacity, some world in which this actually plays out. But what up, Casey, Aria, how you guys doing? It's very nice to see you both. So all right, on to the next thing because obviously we have to move from potentially good news to people stuffing children in cabinets and selling them on Wayfair. Apparently that's the thing. What's your take on that, Dane?
So that hit me kind of fucked up because one, I didn't know that it was like a real thing. I saw a meme and I'm like, the fuck? What is Wayfair?
Yeah.
And
Have you ever used Wayfair?
I mean, I've gone to it. I know that it's like you resell shit, right? Or you get shit cheap or something?
Furniture, online furniture shopping. I think they drop ship everything. So it's
cheaper?
Amazon-esque. I mean, yeah, sometimes, and other times, no, they have super expensive shit on there. This desk in front of me, this hooker desk is
You have a hooker? Wait, you have a hooker desk?
Damn right. It's made out of
a hooker desk.
Yeah, which is very.
It's made out of
hookers. No, it's the brand Hooker Furniture.
Okay. Oh, it's actually that's
actually called Hooker Furniture. Yeah, and which just made it perfect for me.
Okay, so I hear about this shit, whatever. I look at the meme, I'm like, oh, whatever that is, it might be funny. And the homie was like, no, that's not funny at all. Like, apparently, they were fucking. It's some real shit. They were
no,
like,
the meme was funny though.
The meme was the one that I posted. You saw that?
That
yeah,
shit
that's
was
right.
funny.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
right.
fucked up, but it's funny.
Look, I wasn't saying the meme wasn't funny. The meme was funny, but the actual
child trafficking obviously is not funny.
Yes, like if the shit that was really going on is what I was like, whoa, this part ain't funny. Because I mean, legitimately, they were like charging up shit for furniture, and then like the ideas that kids were showing up in the furniture.
Yeah, they were apparently drop shipping children in really overpriced like cabinets and shit like that. Which, as Aria pointed out, so there were like kids making videos like, I'm here. I'm not stuffed in a cabinet somewhere like being shipped out or whatever.
So it's more of a conspiracy theory than
it seems it. Yeah, I mean, look, I get it that people kind of looked at this and because I've been on, like I said, I've been on Wayfair and I've seen those items and I'm like, what the fuck
like why would you charge $10,000 for a pillow type shit?
Yeah, but all right, but and then there's the whole thing. If the video is real, there were like modified pictures of like staged furniture in the background of these things, like shelves with pictures with different words on them that were super bizarre and seemed oddly specific. And one of them was about a book about like some like Chinese organ harvester or some shit called blood something or whatever. It was just bizarre. I don't know if any of that was real. I mean, it was a video on Twitter. Some apparently like half drunk guy posted who does this conspiracy theory thing.
I think is it random? Is it out of the ordinary? Is it suspicious? It's such behavior.
But why kids? Like, I mean, to me, I would be more inclined to be like drugs, maybe. Like if you're really shipping some shit, because then it's not knocking on the fucking door through when it's being shipped. Like, what carrier is even moving? Is like why do it out in the open too, right?
Like why this don't feel like no 30 pounds, bro. What is fucking putting this in this box? No, I mean. Yeah, I don't know why kids. Maybe there's more money. I don't know. Look, I can't walk down that path. I can't walk down that road. I don't even know. I don't know how much a kid is worth.
Yeah, I mean, either according to Wayfair, 10 grand a kid or something like
10 grand, huh?
I mean, the going rate.
I don't know. I
know this is a real thing. I'm not trying to make light of it. This is an actual problem, but it was
I feel like if it were really legitimate, I feel like it wouldn't be that easy to uncover. Is also some of my thinking, because I'm like, a lot of it just seems so obvious. And he's like, yeah, you find out that there's those people in the world that, they're just so fucking cocky that they're like, we're never gonna get caught. We're just gonna do it just like this. But I don't know, something like that.
The Epsteins of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he totally killed himself, by the way. Totally.
I mean, of course. He just, hit a wall.
Oh.
Just decided he wasn't going to get out of it.
That was
Gave up.
That's a whole other thing. All right, so moving on.
We'll see what happens to Ghislaine.
From that, did you see? Because I just saw this actually before we jumped on here.
Yeah.
So there is a clip going around right now. I think it might be trending on Twitter as we speak.
Right.
Trump sat down with Chris Wallace from Fox News outside in I think it was in the Rose Garden or something. He sat down outside of the White House. Just to have, to do an interview with Chris Wallace. And apparently too, at some point he asked Chris, like, whose idea was this? And Chris was like, it was fucking your idea, you dunce. But he asked him, so they're talking about, I think, I don't know, I can't remember what the segue was, but basically it comes down to Trump said that Joe Biden said that he wanted to, abolish the police, defund the police, the whole thing, which if you follow this, we know that's not true. I mean, it's something that he kind of put down pretty early on during this whole thing. He even put out like an entire op-ed somewhere about it. But Trump literally like threw a fucking temper tantrum in the middle of the argument, in the middle of the conversation. He's like telling his staff to go get, so the reason he said he wrote it down, and it was in the charter that him and Bernie Sanders drafted up for police reform. Which in nowhere does it say abolish or defund the police. That's neither of them take that stance. And I get it. It's sort of, don't get me wrong, people on the defund the police side actually do kind of, it's not full on like strip all the money, and there's degrees depending on who you ask what it means.
Right.
But anyway, he full on goes, bring it out here. And Chris fucking Wallace
got it.
Like they first off, they didn't find it, and he literally said to his face, he's like, he didn't say that. It's not in there at all. And then Trump tries to find it, and Chris Wallace like on air is like doing the double talking head box. He's like, yeah, that was never in there because it didn't exist. He just straight up fact checked them in real time on Fox News. Brilliant. Absolutely.
I mean, and on Fox News, that's actually more shocking than anything else. I feel like
see it too often. Shep Smith's one of the only other guys in there I've ever seen like try and correct motherfuckers on there. Wow. Hey Debbie, how are you? Good to see you, darling. Thank you for jumping in here.
I don't even think I could see the comments just yet. But hey, Debbie, how you doing, sweetheart?
But yeah, man, I'm like, nice. We need to see more of that. I've seen people saying that should be part of the debates if they happen, is live fact checking.
I'll say this from what I have been seeing, just even from his whole bullshit press conference in the Rose Garden to like taking the pictures with the fucking beans. I feel like and then firing his fucking campaign manager last minute.
Dude,
like I feel like there's an unraveling that's fucking happening.
Yeah. Which is great.
I like that trend.
It's insane that this is what it took for that to happen. The fact that this didn't happen during the original election in 2016 or back in 2015 or however long that hellscape lasted.
Yeah.
It's crazy it took this long for that to happen.
I don't think anybody took it seriously for a long time, and then they started to see what the fuck damage it would do, and now it's like
everyone underestimated him and the capacity for people to ignore facts. Speaking of ignoring facts, this is a good segue. Segue. McEnany, I think is how you say her last name, the new White House press secretary. Did you?
I fucking hate her so fucking much. I'm sorry, I fucking hate her so fucking much.
Awful. And she said, I have a quote here. Trump. So they're talking about Trump sending the administration sending kids back to school.
Yeah.
In the middle of all this with like no actual game plan. And if you saw Betsy DeVos, she was like stumbling around it. There is no plan. And she said the president has said unmistakably that he wants schools to open. When he says open, he means open in full, kids being able to attend each and every day at their school. That's what she said. And then she said the science should not stand in the way of this. So again, just facts.
What the fuck?
Science, the actual information should have no bearing. We should all be acting on our gut and instinct.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard in my life. Like, I look, all right, look, okay, chiming in. So here's the thing, right? I'm actually more or less very more, I guess, reason, logic oriented as far as the way that I think. I do actually pay a lot of attention to scientific findings, to data, and just this whole fucking, even just down to the people that are actually like protesting masks and shit. I just watched this town hall that got canceled because people came in and protested not wearing a mask or whatever. And I'm just like, the fact that you would forego scientific findings in favor of political agenda or a politician's opinion is like, how the fuck, what school did you go to? Like,
how anti-intellectualism I get. So like, I guess the anti-elitist movement, which is hilarious too, because I don't know how the right co-opted that, considering that the majority of like the ultra rich and stuff, so many of them subscribe to more conservative policies because they want to, clutch their pearls and not get taxed more for shit.
Right.
Because trickle down economics, really, that works. But I don't understand how they co-opted
it. No, it doesn't.
No, it's a fucking joke.
Look, not unless you count the crack epidemic in the 80s.
I don't know why I laughed about that, but it's just that ridiculous. The anti.
By the way, I'm pouring myself a drink of some very delicious
tequila water.
Delicious Uncle Nearest. Are you drinking tequila water? I'm drinking Uncle Nearest whiskey. That's what I'm drinking.
There you go.
Sorry, go ahead.
We talked about on the podcast. Now We Drink with Matt Slayer, which airs next Thursday at noon. Check it out.
Yes. Big shout out, Matt Slayer. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, actually, that one. But yeah, anyway, so the anti-intellectualism that's like sort of taken over has allowed people to be like, yeah, that's true, but I don't care. And then people who have like
it doesn't matter
information about it are somehow now the enemy. Anybody who like they're turning Fauci into the fucking enemy. I'm not saying he handled this perfectly, but to be fair, he was also tiptoeing around Donald Ego the entire time.
They actually walked that back in the media too. So there was Pence sat down, I guess, with Fauci and like made it a big deal, saying, "Oh, had a very good conversation with Fauci recently." Like they're letting him back into the fold somehow, like because he's
obviously
right. Because he's right.
Yeah, stupid. This has all been for the sake of the re-election campaign. That's it. They even, I guess, where did I see? I can't remember what outlet, but they were sending like opposition research style documents to news organizations on Dr. Fauci, like trying to like break him down as if he's not the top leading expert on, you know, infectious diseases.
Because what do you do if you want to maintain the fair opinion of the mob? You agree with them no matter what, and you make those who would easily be able to debunk any of their arguments look bad, look stupid, look dumb, look untrustworthy, and like you know what I mean? Like we're kind of trying to do to Trump a little bit sometimes. Fuck him. But yeah, that's the thing. Like the first thing you do is find the person that knows more than you and tell everybody that guy's stupid.
Yeah.
So you can keep the mob,
and it works.
Yes,
yes,
it does.
It's been clearly very effective here. And the other thing too is he gets these platforms like Fox News, who for so long didn't fact check him, and then if he walks something back, they just kowtow and just go right along with it. I don't know. It's like there was no accountability until he started promoting that OANN network, which is even fucking worse.
Yo, I know about OANN and the way that have you seen the like they'll show like footage of how he responds to questions from the OANN when he's at press conferences, like the stuff you don't actually see.
It's all feeding into the tribal.
He'll just be like, "Hey, great question, by the way. I'm like, you fucking putz. I fucking sorry.
I know. No, it's obnoxious. It's absolutely obnoxious. By the way, if anybody has any comments or questions, they want to chime in on anything we're talking about, we can see all your comments no matter what platform you're on. This is on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube.
And if you don't agree with me, fuck you. First of all, politely, fuck you.
Absolutely.
with no due respect.
No, with zero.
No, wait. But sorry, I did actually want to kind of get a little bit of a tangent here. I saw the whole Nick Cannon thing unfold in like real time.
I was just gonna say, about that, because Viacom they split.
So first of all, here's the thing. All right, look, I didn't know what he had said. I thought my drink fell. I didn't know what he had said initially. I was like, how bad could it be? Now I happen to know some of. How do I say this? I know people in positions that like what their background is, and I could see how that could come across the way that it did. What was fucked up for me though is like I'm like, okay, one, I mean you've been pretty much like doing the same like dance for wilding out on what is it, CBS or whatever the fuck for years. Like how you
not on MTV anymore?
No, it's not. They brought it back. I forget. I think it's on Fox. It was on Fox, right? I think it was on Fox.
I don't remember. I haven't watched
I could be wrong, but no, it hasn't. It's not on MTV. It hasn't been on MTV for a couple of seasons. But it's just like, I mean, he released this statement saying, and I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna paraphrase it as best I can. But he was like, basically, I woke up today, and like, I felt terrible because on the one hand, I offended an entire group of people. But then on the other side, I had people from my own culture, my own background, like coming for me. Yeah. And he's just like, I hate it here, that kind of thing. And I'm like, yeah, because I guess he was like, there was a mixed bag of responses. Like there was some people on Twitter, some black folks was like, oh well, you know, like this is probably better for him. Fuck it. Maybe he's right. Look back into history. Like da. And then there were other people that were like, yo, that was fucking stupid. What the fuck is wrong with you? As there's gonna be.
It's a bit ham-handed.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is the one thing as stuff kind of starts to heat up. Read the fucking room, bro. Like read the room, like understand where you know, like understand where you're at, understand who pays your fucking bills, understand who signs your check. You know what I'm saying?
Look, at some point, I mean, Cannon's got enough money that he does.
He does, yeah. And there's
of the almighty dollar.
There's a very real possibility he gets picked up by like Netflix, or he gets picked up by something that, you know, is actually ends up being better for him in the long run anyway. But
possibly, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised by that. The who was it? There was speaking of people, this similar sort of like, I don't know, want to call it. It's not really woke situation, but back to the Lady Antebellum.
Woke.
Yeah,
Oh,
people
yeah.
getting shredded online for one thing, and other people are saying like it should have been fine, and it's a mixed bag of responses on how it goes. At the end of the day, it's like you kind of, I mean, I guess in that specific instance with Nick, it's sort of should be a freedom of speech thing. People shouldn't be getting completely obliterated for it.
Not like that.
No, because there was that what was it? The who put it out? Oh, shit, I can't remember. There was like 183 like scholars and intellectuals and people of note that signed a document that was basically like kind of trying to combat this counter this cancel culture on the far left. You know what I mean? Where people are just getting absolutely shut down with no recourse. Like you're not allowed to have a wrong opinion.
Yeah.
Which is I think is insane. No, I know there's a place for it. You know what I mean? There's some people like, yeah, you need to be shut the fuck up. Like you're a clown. You're saying shit that's harmful and all that. But at the same time, this country is based on being,
being able to say what you want to say. Yeah.
I mean, that's why we can put out our first music video and single and not have like, the cops coming after us for it. So Little Bitch is out now.
Yeah, by the way, check that out. It's fucking dope.
Check that out.
Fire.
But yeah, I'll put the info here again on the bottom.
Hey, it's got a crawler. That's new. I like it.
So, but yeah, going on to the Lady A thing too. I actually just read this whole article on Billboard today, and there was a trademark attorney who was going on. He's like, yeah, I mean, this is a matter of trademark law. It's not the rest of it. All this angle everyone else is trying to take on it. It's not about that,
right?
Because I know you and I briefly talked about. That was a terrible segue, but it was just something I wanted to bring.
Terrible segue.
But yeah, it was it's basically going to come down like they've owned it since 2011. So I've had this conversation with a bunch of people, some who may even be in here still, and it's we're gonna see how it plays out. But I don't personally. I'm just gonna on the record here. I don't think this was like some racist move on their part. I don't think they were doing anything to hurt the culture. I mean, that's just
by suing her.
Looking at yeah, because at the end of the day, they tried to just be like, hey, let's share the name and we'll work with you and we'll
she's trying to get a check though. Fuck
yeah, but for $10 million and not budging on it, like she had like hundreds of followers on Spotify when this first started. Hundreds. That was it. She's been around for 30 years and that's where she's at. Like anything positive from this would have helped.
I couldn't assume.
I could have gotten cash out of it,
I couldn't assume to know who she asked. I couldn't, you know what I mean? Like what the best course of action was. I couldn't, like, sometimes people just, fuck it. I'm trying to get paid.
I get that. It's just, I don't, then just make it that, right?
Right.
Like,
let me get 2 million. I'll knock that down to $1 million. I'll shut the fuck up right now and leave.
And then you get a feature
with a door at.
And you talk to the label, they'll help you on social media and you get pushed greater than you've ever been pushed before, and you actually do something for your career, as opposed to right now she's in a real position of just losing the fucking name and getting nothing, which would suck. Like that's not what someone who's been grinding for 30 years deserves. But like I mean, I think it's a bit unreasonable to ask for that much and not budge and take no olive branch or no middle ground whatsoever, and then try to paint them as like being a bunch of racists for it, more or less. Like she literally said, like them using the name, which they've been using for 10 years, is another knee on her neck.
Oh shit!
Right in that. That's not just
me. That's so fucking petty. But I mean, look. This is what I say. This is what I will say. I mean, I'm not as familiar with this whole case and all the details surrounding it, so I won't say too much. But I can understand that petty ass nature. But it's not gonna do it. Look, sweetie, it's not gonna do you any good. Like that's like at the end of the day. Like you're kind of sort of using a struggle that's not, you know what I mean, that doesn't fit here to like justify behavior.
Yeah, they're taking the attention away from the shit that is actually important in this movement. I mean, it feels like to me, and I don't understand how so many people just jump on that bandwagon. I'm like, why are we even talking about this? Like this is. And it's in the conversation, like after it dominated the news cycle for a few days, it's already a fucking dead issue. And no one will talk about it again until there's a verdict in court.
Yeah.
Like none of this matters. Like the shit we should be talking about is
I mean, if it would have definitely suited her to like find some common ground and make it,
where's the
over.
benefit? Like, even if she wins this, how does she benefit comparatively to maybe taking a couple mil, a feature, and label assistance from one of the big country acts in the world?
Yeah.
Where's the benefit doing this instead? Like, they're not going to back down. I wouldn't.
No, they got more money than she does.
$10 million, right? That's like one of the guys in the band's like entire net worth. Like, that's not. That's I don't know. I think it's just crazy. But real quick, I saw Aria sitting here about, speaking of defund the police, so remove a percentage of funds depending on the police force size per department and reallocate those funds to programs to properly deal with issues like mental health, addiction, and homelessness, and towards the communities where it can be. Also, Trump wants us all to die from the Rona.
So I'll tell you this.
I agree.
I agree as well. I happen to actually be from a little known city of Chicago.
Chi-town?
What up, though? But so here's what they did initially, and this is why I will never not be on board with defund the fucking police. So at a time when there were it started out, there was a lot of fucking projects in Chicago, and they were really bad. It was like where all the gangs basically congregated and lived.
Yeah,
they tore all that shit down, and everybody kind of spread the fuck out. And what they did was, right after they did that, they gutted all of the public school funding from the inner city, from anything on the south side, the west side, and they moved those funds over to police departments. They tried to build a police academy on the fucking south side, and that was their fix. And when you see what kind of impact that has on a community, when you see what kind of impact that has on people that are growing up, and all they want to make sure of is that, you know what I mean, they're going to survive for a few more days, that instead of seeing that as a problem and trying to remedy that problem, you just throw more cops at it, and you throw more budget to the cops who are partially creating the circumstances that make that problem happen. Fuck out my face.
Yeah, I don't understand how people are all, and this has been part of the conversation. A great point that's been made constantly is no one was making a big deal about defunding these schools and defunding these social programs and social workers and all these things that were in place for a fucking reason. Yep. Like there's an actual need for them. And I mean, literally, Joker, the new one starts out with like the social worker being fucking fired and basically spawning a serial killer. Like
that is right.
It's just so prevalent. It's even in like one of the highest grossing. What is it? The highest grossing rated R movie of all time is how it kicks off.
I think it is. I love that movie so much.
It was good. I want to watch it as much as everyone else seemed to, but I did.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I thought
it wasn't as good as The Killing Joke. For sure.
So I'm familiar, haven't seen the animated. That's actually, I think, my wife's favorite. Maybe favorite Batman.
Your wife has good taste. You should listen to her.
Yeah, no, I want to see it. I just haven't gotten around to watching the animated one.
It's fucking phenomenal.
The Japanese side of things. I love
anime.
But speaking of anime, actually, too, I saw on Crunchyroll, because this is how big it's getting here. Crunchyroll has are you familiar with it or no?
I am, because of you. You told me what it was when I was over there last.
Crunchyroll is like another streaming service for like simuldubs and subtitled anime and stuff here in America. I think they're actually owned by a larger company now, like Universal or Sony, but they have a collaboration on a bunch of merch and stuff with Megan Thee Stallion. That's how far that's gotten. They have a full who, by the way, also, if you heard, did you hear what happened with her this weekend?
So here's the thing. I heard several things that happened to her. Do you want to know? Do you want to know what I heard first?
Yes.
So the first thing I heard was that there was a altercation at the home of Tory Lanez. Yes. And that there was some glass that had gotten broken out of one of the SUVs she was either getting into or getting out of, and that glass had gone into her foot. And then a day goes by. A day goes by, and the next thing I hear is, oh, so she got shot. I was like, well, that makes more fucking sense. If a nigga come out dumping, it's not gonna be glass that hurts you like that. You don't got to get hospitalized for glass. You can put a fucking bandage on that.
Glass in an SUV too, which turns into tiny cubes, not giant shards that weigh enough to pierce your foot.
One more day goes by, and as I think it was as of today, they were like, not only did she get shot, but it was Tory Lanez that shot her. And that he shot her because I guess she was trying to leave and he didn't want her to, or whatever.
totally the best way to get somebody to stay is to
I mean, you know, everybody's got their strategy. That's not mine. But if it works,
just start throwing shit at people instead. I'll take it down to PG-13 and start chucking heavy objects at you. Don't leave.
But to respond, even though I'm like kind of saying it tongue in cheek, I do want to go out of my way to say this. However, that whole thing transpired, it was fucking unnecessary. And the fact that more people are willing to like make jokes about the fact that she is hospitalized than are concerned with how she got shot, if she's okay. You know what I mean? What the fuck's going on? Why is this a thing that's happening like more and more? Like there's so much violence kind of around these artists and shit. You know what I mean? Like that shit. There is a dark side to that shit. I'm just trying not to like make it too fucking.
Yeah. I mean, and it's shit. Once the problem is you learn about it because I know what you're talking about, not from a little bit of personal experience, but more from seeing, unfortunately, the worst part of all of those things.
Yeah,
because that's what finally gets the attention when shit goes.
Well, because I mean, you got to understand that, like this whole. If you think about it, like this is the way my head thinks. Because whatever, this is just the way my head thinks. We'll get into that on another fucking episode. But the way I'm thinking is like, okay, so now somebody's looking for get back, like immediately, right? So she got shot. Somebody in the camp, either his or hers or somebody's friend is looking for get back to somebody. And so I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else's security guard, somebody else's fucking homie, this, that, brother, cousin, come pop up shot or pop up dead or pop up in jail. You know what I mean? And now they're bringing charges against Tory Lanez, and it's like over what? Over dumb shit, like immediately.
Yeah, and so and for don't get me wrong, it's one of those things. I'm like, I feel like whatever got it there was probably stupid. Now someone might end up in jail for it. You know, someone doing really well in life.
Really, like Tory Lanez has been popping the fuck off. His live stream that he was doing on IG Live, like fucking was breaking records and shit. His like he's been putting out music crazy consistent. Like that's just and fucking up over what? Drunk shit.
I don't get that, man.
Somebody start woofing. I do, but I don't condone it and I don't appreciate it. Like it does it
hard. I mean, how hard they worked to get to that point. And it's like you're gonna let like some just hair trigger emotion situation overtake and just throw it all away.
You know what? And
I feel bad. I'm not trying to say I empathize or sympathize really with someone shooting at somebody.
No,
but like,
I mean, no.
Being an artist and getting to that position and then fucking it up over something stupid.
So and I'll say I'm gonna say this as lightly as I can without doing a deep dive into this shit. But like the only thing I'll say is there is a mentality that if you come up a certain way that you kind of have, and it's always kind of there, and it's real. It's always this balancing act to keep that in check. And a lot of times, and I mean especially when you're still definitely clicked up with certain people that you grew up with, you're still part of that life in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like people look at you like you move in a certain way. It's like it's real. You know what I mean? It's almost expected that if this thing happens, this is your response. And it's like you gotta have a whole lot of shit to be able to like, wait a minute, whoa. I know I used to be that nigga, but I'm not that nigga no more. So I gotta do something. You know, I gotta handle myself right. Yeah. And some people don't catch that, and they end up in a whole world of shit for no fucking reason.
That kind of harkens back to what we were saying before. It's like your upbringing, more or less, will dictate so much of the shit that happens to you later on in life. I mean, that doesn't mean you're beholden to it. Not everyone is, obviously, but it's like, the same reason we shouldn't be defunding schools in areas that you see a lot of this
the most. Exactly.
Obviously these things, one thing leads to the next thing, and you're here, and then people are like, well, let's just keep throwing Band-Aids on the fucking problem. Getting to the symptom, which is I guess, all Western medicine anyway.
Or even not even just in most cases, not even just throwing a Band-Aid on it. Let's make some money off of this shit.
Yeah.
like let's get as many of them in prison as we can, and then put them to work, and then let's privately hold those prisons and privately fund those the staff that works those prisons.
American way.
Yep.
It's the American way. It's just keep trying to find a way to throw Band-Aids on here and get paid for them.
Pretty much.
That's it. It's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
2.5 million people in prison later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And comparatively to the rest of the world, too, our incarceration.
Oh, man.
We don't even have the largest population by
That's
fucking
ridiculous.
not even close compared to like India and China.
Aren't we like, isn't it like 20% or something like that? Is incarcerated?
Something obnoxious. I don't remember. I'd be lying if I said I remember the exact percentage.
Yeah.
Something obnoxious. I remember reading about it and just being like, well, that's not right.
That can't be fucking good.
Right.
Should we reevaluate this? Should we take another look?
You find out that, like how much there's like large percentages of certain things, I think like desk chairs and certain oddity, like random things that are manufactured and made by these prisoners in private prisons. Yep. People are profiting off of this labor when they're paying like pennies for this shit.
Victoria's Secret. Shout out Victoria's Secret. Who?
That's true.
Yeah. Victoria's Secret's
lingerie.
Huh? Yes.
Really?
Yes. Look it up. Google that shit.
That's nuts.
You will be pleasantly surprised. For like what, 10 cents a day. It's not slave labor because they're criminals or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the argument made is that that's basically why it turned out that way, is because they lost the right to actually have slaves. So they found
the 13th Amendment. Thank you, 13th Amendment.
Yeah.
By the way, if you haven't seen the documentary The 13th, if you're wondering why I just said that and what I'm referring to kind of like subtly, that's what it is. Check out The 13th on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's on there right now.
Chris Census, I think is how you say.
What up, Chris?
Prison for bullshit. That's yeah, that seems to be there's an obnoxious amount of people in prison, but if you looked at the amount of them that are in for like
petty
weed or some shit,
non-violent. Oh, and that's the other thing.
It's not illegal anymore too. Like that wasn't retroactive.
No, even worse than that, shit that's a multi-billion-dollar industry currently, right now. Yes. I still have people that I know personally that are locked up over like weed charges from like 10, 15 years ago.
That's insane.
Feel me? Like that don't make no fucking sense. I don't care how you cut it. And
I know a couple kids in school for like this, for opiates and shit, selling them back home. And then, same sitch. And I'm like, so if this giant company here does it, or Pharma Bro, whatever the fuck that dude, he can.
It's okay. Look, it's all right.
Because it was man-made. Because
you don't gotta
trademark it, and
so you don't need to destroy his family or his community or nothing. None of that shit. That's just not like standard. I thought that shit was standard.
They get that generational wealth to keep handing it down.
I didn't even catch that. Yeah, I didn't get part of that.
I don't. This is a whole. We'll have to do an episode.
We'll do one where we're just buried into this. This will take forever.
Yeah. I haven't seen you since the Jam Room and How. Chris, damn man, it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah.
The Damn Room.
The Jam Room. So I'm in a band called Scarlet Carson from back.
Scarlet Carson, what up?
And that was our basically our home. That was our home base. And I used to. I think we were there twice a week, every week for like for years.
Yes.
And we went back and did when we did our reunion. We actually had to go right back.
Oh, that's where you were. I saw that.
That was back in Jersey. So shout out to the Jam Room. Shout out to Chris.
Isn't New Jersey the Garden State?
It is the Garden State.
I love that movie.
Zach Braff is the fucking man, dude.
By the way,
did you see their podcast? Have you heard it at all?
I have. Yes. Okay. So I watched
the first two.
Some of Scrubs fucking addict. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the entire run of the series at least 4 or 5 times. Everything.
3. I think I've seen it through 3 times.
So here's my quick story about Zach Braff. I met Zach Braff.
Oh, really?
Yes. Zach Braff. And here's what happened. Zach Braff, super fucking cool. Donald Faison, not.
Really?
But not on purpose. Like, so we pulled up. So Hotel Cafe, you know where that is? Right there on Yeah. I pull up there before I lived here. This was like years and years ago when Zach Braff was still dating Mandy Moore.
Okay.
And they all went there to see Joshua Radin, who is like friends with Zach Braff. He's like got a lot of songs in the Scrubs whatever show. And I pull up. I had no idea about any of this. I just liked Joshua Radin because of the show and didn't know they knew each other. I pull up with a friend of mine. Donald Faison is outside smoking a cigarette, like just leaning against the building. And I'm like, yo, Donald. And he's like, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know you. And I don't know why. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, I don't fucking know you, and I don't know why I did that. But like, yeah, no, I just pulled off because like I was like, nah, I was immediately embarrassed. I was like, yeah, I because you see the show so much and you're like, yeah, we're friends, but you're not.
And that's not a reaction, like, because he has to. I mean, if you're in that position, that has to be a pretty common occurrence, you think?
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, he was also like, he was also smoking a cigarette at a show, chilling. I'm sure if somebody ran up on me like, yo, what up, Dane? I'd be like, who the fuck are you? And why are you yelling my name all loud like that?
I don't think I would. I haven't. I've done. People have done that to me a bunch of times, especially back home when I used to do. You know, when I was like full on with Scarlett, and people would say, "Hey, you know, Santino."
Humble brag. Humble brag.
That's what I'm saying. You know, but I do. You know, just because you don't know, and if they're a fan or something, like that's the reason I get to do this. So I'm just try to always be conscious of that. It gets a little weird. Some people take it a little too far on the line. I'm sure you've experienced that,
yes. Yep. I got stories for later. But so anyway, so wait. So I go in, I do meet Zach Braff. And first of all, I go in and it was like, I walked past Rachel Bilson. If you don't know who Rachel Bilson is, watch the OC, which I was really into that shit before I moved here on Start.
I know the show. I haven't seen it.
But so I walked past her. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is going on? Dr. Cox is chilling in the cut. Like, Mandy Moore's there. Walk up. I was like, man, I got to say something to Zach Braff once the show's over, whatever. I just got to do it. Walk up. I'm like, hey, Zach, just wanted to say I'm a really big fan. He's like, hey, man, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Shook my hand and shit. He took a picture with me. It was cool. You know, it was a moment. Whatever.
Awesome, I've heard nothing but good things about Zach.
He's cool. He was cool.
I've heard a lot of
shame. I wish he would have done more, to be honest.
I think he, you know, I part of me, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like he just likes to just do his own thing at his own pace.
Yeah.
He's not one of those guys who just needs to constantly be doing projects.
To be famous all the time. Yeah.
He probably made that Scrubs money, and then he's like, I'm going to do my indie flicks, build some up, do things my way, not be beholden to some large studio, and it won him a bunch of awards and shit, you know?
I feel like between Garden State and Scrubs, he's fine.
Like, he's gotta be
forever. Like, yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, I mean, I know he was a part owner of this, like, of a restaurant that I used to live like a block away in East Village. He's got his hands in like a few different things as far as I know. So it's, you know, he's probably just, I think he was, I don't know if it was him, but I think he was doing something in music too. Was he have like an indie label or something?
He might have a label, yeah, because you know when he did Garden State, he got really into like song selection and music selection, and he had he knew like he ran with Colin Hay and like Joshua, like all these like really fucking hipstery like.
I can't get to sleep.
Yo, I love that. I love that song just because of Scrubs. Because remember the opening of Scrubs, that episode when he's like playing the.
That's why I know the song.
Yeah, same.
Purely because of that. I was like on my playlist for a while after that episode because this shit was fucking catchy, man.
Mine was that one he did about his wife that died. Colin Hay did a song about his wife that died.
I can't listen to that.
That Zach Braff.
Too depressing.
Zach Braff put it in one of the episodes, and I loved it. Like I was like, yeah, that's I'm gonna this is in my.
I didn't even know that about him. That's terrible.
I like putting on sad shit, man, and just making myself feel sadder when I'm sad. So I don't know if you are like that, people watching, but I am for sure like that.
Hey, Rolo, thank you very much, brother. It's good to see you, and congratulations,
Rolo.
Yeah, Rolando.
I paid for my Rolos. I'm getting my Rolos.
But congratulations, Rolo, man.
Congrats, Rolo.
We got he worked on Thursday, November. Bully was thank you, Chris, man. So for those of you who don't know, shameless self-plug again. I directed a feature film called Bully. You can check it out at Bully.
Bully is a dope fucking movie. You should fucking watch it.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Chris. I'm glad you watched it and then enjoyed it as well, and then told me about it, because that's enough steps that I like to believe you actually did enjoy it. So thank you, man. I really appreciate that. But yeah, what was there was something I wanted to bring up before we were talking about, but we were talking about like crazy shit happening and stuff, and it sparked a memory. There was did you hear about I think it was in Portland. They're yanking people off the streets walking home from protests in like unmarked vans in wearing like, so all right, so some kid,
because they're still protesting in Portland. Fuck yeah.
So some kid got literally like, he was walking home from a protest, and then an unmarked van filled with federal agents in green fatigues, like just yanked them off the fucking street and put them in lockup.
I mean,
that's
not new though.
I don't know.
That's
like,
SOP, homie. That is standard operating procedure, bro. Like that shit's been happening. That's been happening since like the fucking Black Panthers were doing it. So the reason that happens, right? And this is, I'm not gonna say that this is. I have the data or the evidence to really nail this home, but the reason that happens is it's counter intel. It's okay if these things are happening and they're garnering this kind of a response from this many people, that makes them a threat, especially to the established order. So we need to figure out where they're happening, how they're happening, who said da, 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 da. So you look for the louder people, the people that have been at multiple protests, right? They show up. That's why, like, if you ever
music videos about Donald Trump,
I mean, look.
I'm in danger.
I'll tell you like this. There's I mean, look, never mind. We'll talk offline. Here's what I'll say. Dig in. Here's what I'll say. There is an attention that you're going to garner from the powers that be if you go out of your way to do certain things, obviously.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, that's why, like, one of my favorite pieces of footage from the protests when they were really hot was that one dude that was like all messed up. He had the locks and shit. He was like taller guy, looked like something out of fucking like a video game.
Yeah.
Like out of Halo and shit. But they were calling him like Protester Bay or some shit like that. But like, so this motherfucker is from head to toe blacked out, can't tell who he is. And I'm like, here's the thing: if you're gonna pop up at multiple things like this, that's a necessary precaution, because they see you there. They're like, okay, obviously this person knows how these things are gonna end up being here, and we need to get that person in custody to figure that out. And I don't want everybody to know that, because then it'll be on the news that we arrested him and blah blah blah. So how do I do that?
Yeah,
and that's the government.
That's messed up that you have to literally like go in some form of disguise to exercise
your right to your constitutional right,
a completely unquestionable right as a citizen of the country. Like that's,
I mean, but you don't even,
the country is founded on protest.
But you don't even have to do that as a white supremacist. You could just walk the fuck out with a tiki torch and you're fucking good. Nobody fucks with you. You'll never get thrown in a van.
No,
you'll never get
running. They fucking murdered that poor girl.
I think we ain't done yet.
And somehow that was the end of it.
I think we ain't done yet.
We can't be done yet.
That's all I gotta say about that shit.
Absolutely cannot.
We should definitely do a whole one on just this issue alone.
I'd be happy to, yeah.
Because y'all want to see a motherfucker scream.
I'm in, dude, and we'll get I think it'd be good to bring in a third. I want to start bringing in guests for these conversations.
By the way, I wanted to tell you, because I got this text earlier today. I was doing a lot of running around, like I told you. It was a lot of a week. But somebody was like, "Yo, that guy that's like singing." This is a friend of mine that said this. I'll get whatever offline. They were like, "Yeah, that guy that sings. Wow, I love the way he screams. It's so fucking dope." I was like, "Fuck out of my face." What about what I did? How about that? What about what I did?
All about me. Pay attention to me.
You can call me the Great for short.
Failure me monsters. Failure made me. All right, I'm done.
Wow. All right. Are you done?
God.
But no, I just wanted to share that with you, because I felt like you should know that people like your voice.
I appreciate that. Thank you, person whose name I will find out after this. That's awesome. It's been fun throwing that back, because I come from a metal background. Like, I could not sing a note when I first started, and I just screamed everything. Like, that was it. And then I got into singing. I sucked for a really long time, and then I got pretty fucking good at it. And I'm confident enough to say that, because I was awful before that. And then when I started doing the hip hop thing, I tried incorporating it more in the beginning, and then I stopped.
I feel like you gotta earn that
balance.
Yeah.
I think with this project, I finally found a way to kind of use the whole vocal toolkit in a way that I don't feel like I'm like shoehorning it in.
Yeah. You want to know what my background is? You're gonna laugh.
R&B.
Nope.
R&B.
Nope. I mean, it was in there, but where I started, gospel fucking choir.
Oh shit!
I was terrible. And I'll tell you what. So this is whatever. Like, if people see this from Texas, right? So I got family in Texas, and like they used to. Why am I saying this? I must be drunk. All right, I'm drunk. So
we're gonna learn everything about you during these live casts.
So they used to call me offbeat because I couldn't sing and also do like the numbers that we were doing, like the claps and whatever the fuck at the same time. I was like 8. Yeah. I was like 8 years old and shit. You don't know that shit till you grow up. But anyway, so like that was my inception into music, was singing in a Baptist choir in Texas. So
I was briefly in a school choir in music class back in South Florida for like a year when I was like about 8 years old, and that was it. That was the first time I did anything musical, and then I got a guitar around the same time, and then I never played the guitar because I took a couple lessons and I hated it.
I love it. I love it so much.
I gave up all hopes of ever being in a band until I was like 13. And we'll get into. I'll have to tell that story.
I like it because like the more we do this stuff, the more I realize there's so much stuff I want to tell you guys.
This is basically welcome to the Santino and Dayne therapy session live.
Seriously,
that's great, man. Real quick, I need to say hello to Jasmine. Hello,
hey Jasmine.
Thank you.
Hey, Jasmine. I like that name. It's a flower and it's also a princess.
So Jazz and her family actually were like some of our biggest fans with Scarlett Carson back east, and they would and still are, and they've been amazing, incredibly supportive over the years, and they actually would drive like an obnoxious amount of hours with their
just
kids.
Your punk ass?
I know, right?
Gross.
So much her mother actually has my autograph tattooed on her arm right next to Jacoby from Papa Roach.
Don't lie.
Swear to God, true story.
I want to see that picture. It didn't fucking happen.
I'll bring it into
Shut up. Shout out Jasmine's mom, though.
You know me, I say shit, I bring receipts. And you know
I appreciate you for that too.
Yeah, no, but it was. I mean, they've been awesome because there was even some shows where there wasn't much of a crowd. They were there, and it was to see faces who, and when you're like feeling like, oh fuck, like I'm feeling like we did something wrong here.
This is why I fucking love you, right? Because, jeez, I'm dumping my purse out right now. Because you got to know, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't know what it's like to play for 3 fucking people and 2 of those are people that you fucking know, fuck you. Get the fuck out of my face. I don't care. You're not ready yet.
I agree. I played real quick because we got about 7 minutes left here. So what I think we talked about it last episode, what our dream show would be.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What is the worst show you've ever played?
Ooh.
Like, what was one of the roughest? I could think of a couple. I have 2 immediate ones that come to mind.
Okay, so real quick, just the first thing that came to mind. It was actually the roughest, but it turned into one of the better ones. I was sick, or I was getting sick as I got to the show, and it hit me like right as I got to the show, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. Like my throat, my voice is I don't. And shout out Rocky Russo was actually fucking at that show. And he's like, you're going to fucking do it. We drove all this fucking way. We came all the fucking way out. You're going to fucking do it. And it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I was just trying to cut my teeth on the LA scene. It was a lot. So there was a lot weighing against me. And he was just like, fuck that. You take a shot. You fucking go out there. I took a shot, went out there. And I actually ended up turning it around. Somehow, like, I made the fact that my voice was hoarse and raspy work for me and just kind of, went with it. And I'm glad I did.
It's the fucking worst. I did one show. We played with Saliva at Highline Ballroom when I was with Scarlett, and I had
I liked Saliva.
2-degree fever, I think, and I was dying. I shouldn't have been there, but it was such a thing. Like it was in the middle of this run we were doing with all these like nationals coming through, and I don't know, I muscled through it. I almost blacked out on stage like twice. It was fucking awful, and I left.
It's terrible. It's so fucking hard.
Food poisoning before a show in South Padre Island once too, and I had to cancel one night and then play a show like 9 a.m. the next morning of festival. It was actually the Juicy J one we were talking about last week. That festival I had literally spent the full 24 to 30 something hours before that, just both ends every hour. It was fucking awful. And I got up, I went on stage.
I just pictured it.
It was fucking rough. I went up on stage and did the thing, and I'm literally jumping off stage, pulling people towards it because I was on a side stage, at a festival, like in between, the two main stages. And I'm just dragging people off this. Now I'm like, I had a great set, actually build up, had a big crowd. It was awesome. I got off stage and I dropped like a fucking sack of potatoes, straight on the ground, fell, and
the worst part about playing when you're sick though is like you can't enjoy it if you have a good show after you're done. You know what I mean? Like, and for people that don't know, like one of the best parts about like playing fucking a good show or playing a show period is the after show. like everything you do after that show, like if you body that fucking set and you got like
songs and then everything afterwards.
Yes, everything after, like, whoa, fuck shit. I would go back and tell my younger self, if you ever get down on yourself, don't trip. Just finish the fucking gig, because I promise you, everything after that shit, you're gonna fucking love it.
It's always better. Yeah, it's always better. So unless you're on a tour or something and you can't.
Right, you got to be ready for the next gig. Yeah,
I was a robot on tour, dude, and I had to be, but it was.
I'd like to think I was.
Rapping is easier.
Yeah. Sometimes you can tell like dog shit and still pull it together. But, all right. You know who taught me how to do that shit? Just real quick, fucking shout out AJ, because like you've never seen a motherfucker that can like go ham and pull it together at like night after night after night after night after night. Like you wouldn't even think he drank it all the night before.
Does he really go off like that on tour and everything?
Fuck yeah.
Really?
Sorry, that was yes.
Nah, my voice is not built for that's amazing. I've seen guys like that too.
He hits notes. He hits notes. Yeah. I don't know how the fuck he does it. I really don't. Like
that's why I can't do it, because I won't hit those notes.
Bro, I've been up, like I'll drink whiskey with him. We'll party after the show, and then like I'll pass out. He passes out like few hours before he has to leave and go to the next state, and then like I'll be at the next show, and I'm just like, I don't fuck. Is he doing this well? Like you gotta throw up as soon as you're done. Nope.
He's a monster.
He is. He's a beast.
Shut up. We gotta get him. We gotta get him on this show.
I would love to chop it up with AJ.
Real quick, we got a few minutes left. I don't know if Sonny's watching, but a shout out to my good friend Sonny Mayo, whose birthday was yesterday. Happy belated birthday, man.
Happy belated birthday,
Sonny. Sonny is the man. He was in Snot and Seven Dust, and
I fucking love Snot.
Dude, such a
they should have had a longer run. Fuck.
I actually played. So I played. Do you remember Head PE?
Fuck yeah, I remember Jared. Head PE.
I was like, I played with him twice, and one of them was when I was 16.
Do you know him still?
In the band at the same time.
Do you know him still?
Until like years later. What's that?
Do you know him still? Because we need to talk. I was obsessed with him.
No, I don't know that. I only played a couple gigs with them,
Well, we're gonna figure it out.
4 or 5 years ago, actually, out in is it Jackson, Michigan? I think we did the Rockapalooza, which is I could do an episode on Rockapalooza, dude. That was the whole thing never even happened the next year, because the guy who ran it was running some like check fraud scam or some crazy shit. When we got to the festival, the stages weren't even up. Monster Energy full stages weren't even built the morning we showed up to the festival.
Yo ass. We'll go into that. We'll go into Monsterpalooza. I'm done.
Yeah. So real quick, let's take a look through here. Paraco, what's up, dude? Dave, thank you for hopping in. So we have he's got a track coming out too. It's a cover of Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" with a bunch.
That better be dope. Don't touch it if it's not gonna be fucking dope.
Right. So I got a small feature on it. My wife's got a small feature on it. There's a bunch of artists on there, so keep an eye out for that. That should be really cool. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're about to wrap this up. This is FF Monsters weekly live video podcast. I mean, that's the long way of saying it. I don't know what else we're gonna do on it.
Real quick.
Go on, Failure Made Monsters, and subscribe to our Mainstream Misfits page.
And also go on fucking YouTube, watch the fucking video, comment on it, share that motherfucker as much as you possibly can. Tell everybody that you know, don't know, can't stand, do like, whatever about that fucking video.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say about that.
Failure Made Monsters or links
to
everything you need.
Yep.
So please, I guess that's it, man. As always, it's a pleasure talking to you, sir, and for everybody you chimed in and thank you. We will be doing this again every Friday. 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Until y'all fucking love us.
Yes. So please tune in, check it out. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell everybody. Slap somebody in the face with the phone while this is playing. Whatever you got to do to get the message. But that's it. So we're Failure Made Monsters. I'm Santino the Misfit. This is Dayne the Great.
That's me. Later.